Welcome back. So, today is the day that we are installing a N64RGB mod board for a customer. But this one's different than before, and that's why I'm doing a specific stream for this one. Not just to log my work, but also I want to show off this new board design. This is a new, improved version of the N64RGB board. This is the same as Bordy's. This is built based on Bordy 4938 N64RGB V1 board. But it has some modifications that I personally made to it that make it a little bit more convenient to install. And this version of the board is currently what I will be selling on eBay going forward and on my website going forward. This is replacing the previous version of the board, which, let's see here, I think I have one somewhere around here. Here's one. This one's loaded up with solder paste. I'm about to be building. This is actually the last one I have of the original design. And this is just the standard design. What I've changed for my version, which makes it more convenient for installing with ribbon cables, is that all of the, you'll see here, all of the pads that are meant to accept ribbon cables. See if I can get this adjusted around where you can see a comparison between the two. So on Bordy's original design, the digital section here are all small pads that are spaced properly for this ribbon cable that is commonly used for this. But like power and ground, and then like over on the other side of the board you have reset and control over here, and then red, green, and blue, and C-Sync and all that stuff. They're these larger, wider spaced pads that don't match up with the pitch of the ribbon cable that I use and that I recommend using to install these, which means that you end up having to separate out the individual leads from the ribbon cable rather than being able to install it all as one ribbon. And also, the big thing is the control and reset lines being on the other side of the board. It means you have to run, it's not nearly as nice as being able to run just one uninterrupted ribbon from the inside of the N64 to the outside where you're mounting this board. So I've actually added the control and reset pads right here, just after the ground and VCC pads, which means that this entire 13-pin ribbon cable is just one uninterrupted ribbon from the inside to the outside. Much cleaner install than what you would get with the traditional board. So this one here is the last one I've got. Once this one's gone, it's all going to be this from now on. So for buyers who are buying my board to mod it themselves, this video will serve as an updated example of how to install it. So let's go ahead and get started. Go actually get these out of the way here. Get the customer's N64 here. So it's a nice ice blue N64. I believe this is an NTSC model. So I've got the top case already taken off, but I haven't taken out any of the screws inside yet. I probably should have done that earlier, but I didn't, so here we are. Alright, let's see. Make this as quick as possible. Sorry, screws I know are not super interesting, but it is what it is. It's been a very busy day, so this is happening this late because it's got to get done today to meet my delivery deadline back to the post office tomorrow. I try to keep my installation times very quick. Right now it's a 1 to 2 day turnaround, so I've got to work even late. Got to work even late, and I have a full-time job also. So this is just a little side gig. So I worked all day today, and now I'm working some more, and then I'm gonna go to sleep. And tomorrow I get up, go to work again, and then I'll be back in here doing what I do after work tomorrow. But it's cool. I really like doing this part here, installing the mods. This is pretty much my favorite thing to do. You know what's nice about the N64 design? These little feet come off, and they make perfect screw holders. You can pop all your screws in there. You got 2 feet that you can use. I separate out the main case screws and then the internal screws into 2 separate categories. It's nice. Pretty convenient. So, go ahead and remove the heatsink. That out of the way here. So this board is a MAV NUS board. Get some little bit of grime there. This is an MAV NUS board, so we're going to be using the MAV-NUS adapter. I wonder if I can use my stick vise on this board. Does an N64 board fit in a stick vise? See, I just acquired this stick vise, and I like it a lot. You know what? I think an N64 board will fit in a stick vise. Believe it or not, it does. It fits in the stick vise. That's nice. So that keeps it nice and flat. Man, I love the stick vise. I just got it, and I gotta say, huge fan. If you do modding like this, the stick vise is nice. Keeps everything more steady. Alright, I saw this on Ben Heckendorn's channel, so that's how I know about it. Okay. Go ahead and get an MAV-NUS adapter. Now my current stock of MAV-NUS adapters are like this. These red PCBs. Sometimes you'll see the blue. Oh, actually I do still have some of these purple ones. These purple PCBs are a little bit different. They're gold plated. The pads and pins are gold plated. Whereas these red ones are hot air surface leveled. And in all honesty, the coating on the hot air surface leveled ones come out nicer for these little castellated edges. And I like it better. So from now on, I'm going to be ordering the red ones. I still have some of the purple ones, so those are going to be used for installations, and they're fine. They just aren't quite as nice as the red ones, in my opinion. But from now on, I'll be ordering the red ones. It's from a different board manufacturer, and it's just using a slightly different process. Which produces very nice results. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of flux in place here. Welcome, Paul. That's Paul. He comes in, he complains. You may not even be able to hear him. You probably will soon, though. Yep. He tends to ramp it up. No longer he's not getting attention. He's probably telling me to go to bed, if I'm being honest. Which, you know, that's probably true. I probably should go to bed. But Gotta do what I gotta do. Uh-huh. I'm sorry, Paul. I don't have time for you right now. Quite busy. I'm quite busy. Alright. Let's check continuity. Make sure there's no surprises. Nope, no shorts. So that's done. Man, it is really nice to have this in the stick vise. It's just, it gives it a level of, you know, solidity, if that's a word, that I'm not used to. I'm going to be putting out an improved version of this MAV NUS adapter as well, by the way. I'm working on it well, I'm not working on it right now, but I've got a plan in my brain, which is basically just to extend it out a little bit longer and add the power and ground pads over here so that, again, it can just be one nice continuous ribbon. Because that's pretty much all I'm trying to do at this point, is make every aspect of this install as easy as possible to do using the ribbon cables. That I recommend. Okay, let's see here. So here's a ribbon. Get this out of the way for a second. So I've cut off 2 extra leads to the side. These are going to be the reset and control leads. And then for these, we're going to go ahead and trim this. We're going to go ahead and strip this this wire. But first I have to find my X-Acto knife. So we just score the edge, flip it over, and again, just score the outside. And then we'll take our side cutters and we'll focus, and we'll focus. Yeah, there we go. Take our side cutters, line them up. There you go. Perfectly stripped ribbon. Okay. Then we'll tin this ribbon up real quick. Okay, the two on the end here, these two, ground and VCC. So we're going to go ahead and wire those first. We pull a lot of excess away on this cable. Sorry, you can't really see that. You pull away quite a bit of excess so that you can rotate it around and actually get these wired up to ground and VCC. So well, this is not incredibly convenient for me to show you. Hold on a second. There we go. Alright, just need a little extra clearance with the stick vise. Okay, so ground is actually the inner pin here, and VCC is the outer pin. So we need to flip this over, and it's going to do a little twist as we rotate the cable over. You'll see what I'm talking about whenever I get to that point. So we're just going to get these spaced out right, and we're just going to solder them in place. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the whole assembly like so. And you see now, pull maybe a little more excess here. Now we still have some freedom to work with this ribbon cable to get everything soldered right here. So we're going to first kind of bend over the ribbon cable so it looks kind of like this, and then we're going to bend it again so it has kind of like this S curve in it. That's going to make it easier to get it into position where we need it for actually soldering all of these points. So we're going to start at one end and we're just going to work our way down. Okay, now it's tacked into place. What we're going to do now is we're going to make sure that we've got a really actually nice connection on all of these. So we're going to kind of press the ribbon down a little bit more, and we're going to go in and add a little extra solder to each one of these to get a nice full solder joint. And I kind of started from the center because those are usually the worst joints, technically, because they're the ones that tend to be kind of floating when you solder initially. And that's just because you can't get as good of leverage in the center of the ribbon to really get them down in there in the joints. Excuse me. But you see now they look good. Oh goodness, sorry about that. Go ahead and clean that area up down here, and you can see we have some nice solder joints here. Yep, looks good. So now we're going to take and fold over, as we always do, and prepare to rotate it over and send it out the other side. So it's going to go out right here next to the cartridge port. And then these extra two cables here are going over here to hook up the control and reset lines. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Now what we're going to do is cut and install our little adhesive pad here to keep that ribbon positioned properly. That's for convenience, really, is mostly what it's about. You don't have to do it, but it keeps everything organized a little bit better for you while you're working. Man, sometimes this adhesive just does not want to cooperate. It can be difficult. Okay. Sorry about that. Don't know what's going on there. Okay, let's go ahead and get this in position. All right. So now on this board, you will notice that control and reset are the reset is the second to last and control is the last pin. So 12 and 13 basically in this row of pins. So that means reset is on the right here and control is on the left. So reset goes to pin 27 of the PIF NUS chip down here. So we're going to go ahead and strip that and solder it in place. Go ahead and tin the pad for pin 27. All right, let's go ahead and solder this in place. Oh. Sorry, this is difficult because I have components out on my component sheet right behind here, and I don't want to, right behind where I'm working, and I don't want to knock them off because I'm going to be building more copies of the N64RGB board after this. But that's soldered now. They're just in the way, so it's limiting my range of motion. Okay, so that's done. Now for the control pin, we're going to probe controller 1, the center pin of controller 1, and figure out where it is on this particular board, because sometimes it's on pin 16 of the PIF NUS, sometimes it's in this via right here. So in this board it's on the via instead of pin 16. So that's where we're going to be soldering. In that case, all we have to do is get that to that via right there. So cut that off. Ourselves a little bit of wire stripped. Okay, that's in the via now. So all we got to do is add a little solder. Okay, so at this point, all the install underneath the board is done. So we can go ahead and add the heatsink back on. All right. Okay, so now that that's done, let's actually install the board. So here it is. The ribbon's going to go over, and it's going to twist like this. And everything's going to be soldered right there. So this right here looks like a decent amount of slack. Yeah, that looks good. Let's go ahead and trim. Well, let's see here. That didn't come out quite straight. Straighten it up. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and score it and strip it. Well, okay. Come on. There we go. Trying to get a little focus here. Let's see, what's going to be the best way to do this? I suppose I could... Probably need to remove it from the stick vise. Sadly. Actually, there's no good way to do this, so we're just going to kind of... We're going to kind of wing it. So just like before, when we installed the ribbon on the MAV and US board, we're just going to kind of just bend the ribbon this way and then make kind of an S out of it so we can get some amount of leverage down there while we're working. So we're basically just going to take the entire ribbon, going to get it into position, and we're going to start soldering. So you can get this where you can see it pretty well. This is too difficult to accomplish this way. It's ridiculous. Trying to make it to where you guys can see while I work. Let's see here. Maybe this position will work. Okay. Let's go ahead and get these bent up a little bit more. I promise this is easier. You gotta trust me. You gotta trust me. Because the thing is, the other design wasn't easy in this respect either. If you want to have a really tight installation, you gotta bust out the tweezers. And you really gotta cinch everything together. Now, if you're willing to have a looser installation where the ribbon cable isn't pulled as tight and you have more slack on it, you can get away with doing a much longer run of ribbon cable, and it's a lot easier in that scenario. Because you have more ribbon cable to work with. But I try to keep my installs very, very tight for just high standards. There you go. So now this is going to sit right here. The ribbon cable is going to fold over like this. And it's basically just going to tuck right under here. And that's all there is to that. So now, all we really have left is to run the ribbon for the AV connector, which is going to be easy as well with this new design. So, got our conductors. So this is going to be easy because there's so few of them. Didn't even need the tweezers for that. So that's pretty much good now. Go ahead and add a little extra dab of solder to each one of those. So now the AV port section is so easy because I built a little adapter for it. And this adapter is pinned out exactly for the design that I use. So once I get this little AV adapter on and soldered into place, it's pinned out exactly the same to where I can just install it straight onto the pads. So just gotta add solder to these 6 points right here. And now, when you purchase, if you purchase my mod, just the board, if you're gonna do your own install, all of my N64RGBs come with this AV breakout board as well. So you're welcome. It's gonna make your life a lot easier. And that is how easy that is. So there you go. That's an installed system. Let's go ahead and get a jumper pack in here. Let's get us an EverDrive. An RGB cable. A power supply. A controller. A game capture profile on OBS, and let's see what we get. Alright, well there you go. Let's load up Super Mario 64. Okay, so deblur is working, 15-bit mode is working. Let's load up a save. Let's look at the ground. So no posterization or color bit loss or anything. It looks fantastic. Okay, let's see if reset's working, and it is working. So there you go. That's that right there is a completed N64RGB mod. This new board is what I currently have available. So when you purchase from my eBay store, from my website, or if you're getting an installation done by me, this is the board that's being installed now. It's just a slightly modified version of Boardy's existing N64RGB board, and it's a little easier to install with a little bit of a neater, cleaner install. So hope you enjoyed the video, hope you learned something, and I hope you join me on the next one. Thanks, goodbye.